Pearl Harbor. A young mother and her two little girls incarcerated by the Japanese during World War II in the Pacific. A secret diary with an eyewitness account of the barbaric treatment of innocent women and children. A mother's love for her two daughters, her courage to keep going, her will to live, and her determination to survive speak of the power of love and faith and hope. Finally, after 3.5 years, the end of the war, the joy of survival, the resilience of the human spirit, and a new life. Rising from the Shadow of the Sun, a story of love, survival, and joy, is a true story by Jeanette Herman Lauwersen, translated and authored by her daughter Ronny Herman de Jong, and read by Stephanie Dillard.
Part 1. In the Shadow of the Sun. Based on the diary and memoirs of Jeanette Herman Lauwersen. Eluding Death. Sticking his bayonet through the gedek, bamboo fence, the Japanese soldier aimed to kill me. He missed. A little girl with blonde braids. I was only 5 years old in March of 1944. The bayonet sliced through the air over my head. "Mama!" I cried. "Ronny, come here!" cried Mama. Dropping my flowers, I scrambled across the slakan ditch and into my Mama's arms. "Oh, Ron," said Mama, "I am so glad you could run so fast through the slakan. You're such a big girl." "What was that, Mama?" "You probably came too close to the gedek. On the other side is a soldier. He thought you were running away and put a stick through the gedek to scare you." "Can you get my flowers, Mom? They are for you." Mama took my hand. "We will get them later, when the soldier is gone. All right?" That morning, Mama and I were walking along the edge of the camp. I was picking wildflowers for Mama across the slakan. On the other side of the gedek, a Japanese guard heard voices and intended to kill me. It is one of the bad memories I have of those 3.5 years in Japanese concentration camps. At that time, Mama, my little sister Paula, and I were incarcerated in Halmahera, a Japanese concentration camp outside of Semarang, on the island of Java in the Dutch East Indies. The war had gone on for 2 years. The Japanese army had conquered our island in March of 1942. Civilians, men, women, and children, were put into concentration camps. Our captors withheld food and medication and treated the prisoners in the most inhumane way. Many were tortured and raped and beheaded. The Imperial Japanese Army's instructions were to exterminate the Western race in the islands at all costs, so Japan could achieve a monopoly in Southeast Asia. It was a near miss. I did not die at the hands of that Japanese soldier in 1944 because I was too small. I could have died a year later from hunger edema. In August of 1945, I was 6. My legs were like sticks. My tummy was bloated, and my cheeks were puffy. I was in the last stages of beriberi, hunger edema. Paula, then 4 years old, had dry edema and was a mere skeleton. She could not walk or sit anymore. I imagined how it would happen. Paula would die first. Mama had wet edema like me, and she would die soon after Paula. I would have a month, perhaps 2, before it was my turn. The Japanese would throw me into a mass grave outside the camp, a large hole in the ground, dug especially for this purpose. When the war was over, Allied rescue troops would unearth my body with all the others and bury it properly in the cemetery outside of town. They would top my grave with a nameless white cross. They put white crosses on thousands of graves in memory of the women and children who perished under the cruel treatment of the Japanese. 49 years later, I stood at that cemetery and wept. I wept tears of sorrow for all those mothers and children who had perished. And I wept tears of joy because I was alive. I did not die in 1945 from hunger edema, because on August 15th, 1945, the Japanese Empire abruptly surrendered and the war was over. With perseverance, great love for her little girls, faith in God, trust in the ultimate victory of the Allied forces, and hope to be reunited with Foko, our papa, Mama kept the three of us alive for almost 4 years. During our time in captivity, she wrote letters to her parents in the Netherlands, which was occupied by Germany, in a thick black diary. Initially, she wrote how we little ones grew up. Then how Foko, our papa, had to leave.